This is going to be hard for some of you to hear, but the truth is there is no such thing as objective morality. All morality is subjective. All morality is relative, because to have universal or objective morality requires that you have something that does not rely on someone's opinions, beliefs, or thoughts to ground something. And the problem is, as the lefties so very often like to observe, everything is basically a social construct. Now, I don't use that in the whole like somehow that explains away the facts way. I'm saying that as in everything that we know of, that we think of, that we conceptualize is done so through ourselves. We see the world through our own lens. Everybody does. Now, people will point to, most often, something like the Bible and say, but this is objective morality because this is God, not man. No, even if you accept the notion that God is real and so on and so forth, even if you philosophically take that as just fact, undisputed fact, it still is a series of books written a long time ago by men, by a bunch of men that you know nothing about, that you never met. It's still men. At the end of the day, it's still a bunch of men writing books. And then, even if you say that the original was somehow the writing of God through their hands, even if you can skew your own personal beliefs to go, well, this is objective and universal because God wrote it. You know, God, a concept that man came up with. Even if we accept all of that as true, it's been translated and modified over the years. That's why there are so many editions of the Bible, so many different versions of your so-called objective morality basis. And this is the problem, is that you have to accept that morality is not objective, it is not universal, it is subjective, and it is relative. Now, the question at that point becomes not whether or not it's universal, objective, whatever. It becomes, okay, what do we base it on? You want to drop the Bible down and say, this is a good way to build a moral framework? Be my guest. But do not lie to me and tell me some books written by some guys 2,000 years ago, translated by 2,000 years worth of guys, and modified by 2,000 years worth of guys, is still somehow an objective basis for morality and reality and truth and all this other stuff. And this is not to pick on the Bible or Christianity or anything. This is morality in general. There is no way for morality to be objective or universal. It is always relative to people. And once you accept that, you can then establish moral frameworks around the fact that all people will have different views on how things should be, and which views should be accepted and which should be rejected. But if we can't even agree on that, how do we convince each other of the actual, validity of any moral system? And I'm not a philosopher, so I'm sure some genius in the comments will go all Reddit tier mod on me and say, oh no, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. Go for it. But, just don't be a dick or I'll ban you. But yeah, feel free to argue with me in the comments. I'm sure that the loops will be very amusing to all involved.